This is your WCIA 3 forecast first.
Even at 10 o'clock, our temperatures are still pretty warm in the upper 70s and low 80s, but we're still going to be looking at the hottest temperatures for the week to be arriving for tomorrow. 81 in Decatur, 80 in Lincoln, 84 in Springfield, 76 in Danville, and 78 in Champaign, which is where we have our Woods Basement Systems weather camera on our Flooring America island. Clear skies out there right now with winds out of the south up to around 10 miles an hour. Our forecast planner does call for more in the way of some cloud cover for tomorrow because we're going to see probably 2 rounds of showers and storms. We'll talk about that, but the main focus, those strong winds will bring in some very hot temperatures. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now from WCIA 3 News.
Homes were shaking in central Illinois today where an earthquake caught a lot of attention. Plus, it's going to be a scorcher this weekend. What one man is doing to help people who have nowhere to go. And there's a chance you could be a millionaire, but you don't need to buy a ticket to win. What you need to do instead.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
I wasn't expecting it. I didn't even know nothing was like that was going to happen.
He's not alone in that reaction after an earthquake rattled Illinois and Indiana. Good evening, I'm Jessica Coons. It happened just after 2 o'clock this afternoon in a town in Indiana about a half hour north of Terre Haute. The 3.8 magnitude earthquake was felt in Champaign, Mahomet, and many other places in central Illinois, but one of the places that felt it the most was Vermilion County. WCIA 3's Bryce Beeman is live in the newsroom. Bryce, this caused quite a stir in Georgetown.
One mobile home park says their places were shaking and they never felt anything like it.
I was just stuck. I couldn't move.
A mobile home park in Georgetown was rocked after an earthquake hit throughout central Illinois and Indiana.
I was laying in bed watching TV, and I went to get up, and when I did, I was like this. I couldn't move for a couple seconds. And next thing I knew, my phone was, everybody was calling me, wanting to know what it was.
Next thing I know, the whole trailer starts shaking. I looked out my back window because the first thing I think is the plant back there.
A 3.8 magnitude centered around the small Indiana town of Montezuma was felt throughout the area.
Next thing I know, the turtles are jumping off their thing and their water's sitting there going like this. Then my neighbors all outside, like, so I was like, well, now I know I'm not out of my mind. I said, the whole trailer park felt it.
Tasha Andrews and her daughter Samantha didn't know what to think when their mobile home started shaking.
I was sitting on the couch watching my show, and then all I feel is my couch shaking and then the total tank rattling.
One man in the same area says the shaking even woke him up.
I was sleeping before work because I had went to bed late, and it had woke me up from my sleep going on to work.
But thankfully, no damage was reported from any of the people I spoke to.
I came out after it happened just to check to make sure to see if we had any damage of any kind, but nothing.
But that doesn't mean the earthquake didn't shake you up.
It rocks you. Even though our trailer's tied down, it does rock you. You know, we get 60, 70 mile an hour winds, and it won't even budge. My mobile home won't even budge. But it moved me. It moved me just a little bit.
We had hundreds of comments on Facebook with people from all over central Illinois saying they felt the earthquake. In the newsroom, I'm Bryce Beeman, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
And not your typical Thursday afternoon. Bryce, thank you. May have only been a 3.8, but as we said, felt near and far. And Jack, this area has had a history of earthquakes before.
That's correct. Yep, it's seen a history of earthquakes before because it's actually in a kind of fault zone. So we'll talk about that right now. We'll pull up our graphics and we'll see that, again, it was a 3.8 magnitude. It occurred at 2:18 this afternoon in, again, 2.5 miles north of Montezuma. It actually occurred 1.9 miles deep under the surface of the ground. Now, most of the reports that we're seeing were in the red area there, which is about 70 miles, give or take, radius from the epicenter of the earthquake. That being said, there have been many reports that have been outside of that region, including as far away as Peoria, the south side of Chicago, Cincinnati, the Michiana area, which is in northern Indiana. So, again, most of the reports coming in from that red area, but the yellow area is definitely an area where it was possible to be felt. Now, the reason why it occurred, it's actually along a kind of active area here. This is the Wabash Valley Seismic Zone. Now, when I say active, it's not, it's not the San Andreas fault line or anything like that, but there has been a history of earthquakes that have occurred in this region over the past few decades. They're relatively rare. They don't happen, let's say, for example, once a year. but they are common in Indiana to occur in that part of the state there. So it does make sense geologically that there was an earthquake from there. Still very fascinating to happen on a Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, all right, Jack, thanks so much for breaking that down. We're going to hear from him soon about this weekend's heat, and that heat means people without homes will be looking for places to cool down. One man in Champaign is doing his part to help out. Warren Charter has a cooler stocked with drinks and towels for those who need them. He says while people may be able to seek shelter during the day, it gets trickier at night when they'll be stuck dealing with the heat and no bed. See You at Home is closed for the time being, which leaves fewer options.
Well, most of these guys are pretty street savvy. They're going to ride the buses. They're going to go to the mall. It would be nice when they're sitting out there if business owners see them and maybe show a little grace, invite them in to cool off a little bit.
He plans to drive around this weekend passing out water. Here's an update. Champaign police have arrested a teenager in connection to a drive-by shooting. This happened near Joanne Lane and Paula Drive 2 weeks ago. An 18-year-old is still in critical condition. 18-year-old Sharman Brown was arrested today. He's facing a charge of aggravated battery with a firearm. You could be a millionaire, but instead of buying a lottery ticket, all you need is a vaccination card. The state is setting aside $10 million for its new vaccine lottery. It's the latest effort to get people to roll up their sleeves. If you've gotten your vaccine already, or if you get it between now and July 8th, you're automatically entered. You could win up to $1 million. The first drawing is July 8th, and it'll happen every week after that. Looking now at the latest COVID numbers, Illinois is now under a 1% positivity rate. 248 new cases were announced. Another 16 people died. More than 46% of people in the state are fully vaccinated. Now for a follow-up, crews broke ground on a $70 million medical facility in Danville. Carl at the riverfront will include a medical office and surgery center. The new space will merge Carl's two existing Danville locations on Fairchild and Vermilion. Construction should wrap up by late next year. If you're looking for therapy services in Central Illinois, you may have to wait. Clarity Counseling Services in Champaign says there's a lot of demand. Owners say it's a combination of things. One, people have struggled during the pandemic and need help. And two, there's now less stigma surrounding mental health compared to 20 or 30 years ago.
I don't think a day goes by where I'm not getting a call from a potential client looking for therapy services. And unfortunately, because the demand is so high right now, there really is not enough therapists to actually meet the demand of clients.
They say their clients have doubled since the start of the pandemic. A former Parkland College trustee who died this month was honored at last night's board meeting. Jonathan Westfield passed on June 5th. The board held a moment of silence before starting the meeting. Westfield served as a trustee from 2017 until he stepped down earlier this year. Girls high school track competed last week for state. Now it's the boys' turn, who brought home some medals. Plus, first it was a no-go, now it's a green light, where fireworks will fill the night sky next month. All right, Jack, we are looking at a heat advisory for tomorrow.
Yep, we got one in place for tomorrow because our heat index values are probably going to be around 105, so a very humid day for us. As we take a look at our almanac for today, we topped out at 89 degrees, a little bit above our average, and we're going to be calling for hot temperatures for tomorrow, as well as the chance for some stronger storms as well. Temperatures do cool off by the end of the 7-day, and we'll have all that after the break.